CSS battle time, and we have a thing. It looks like the lid to a filter basket, you know, where you have the handle that you can twist. I don't know. That sort of thing. How are we going to build it? It's interesting. So I could do... How clever do I want to get on this? I think I need to do it quick. My kids, for some reason, they just fought sleep, so they're still awake, and it's late. And I'm just going to try to do this while they're awake, but my time is very limited. I want to do a radial gradient, you know, for this yellow, but then I'd need like a linear gradient or something in the background to layer this. And so that presents some issues, because I could do a border or something to bring this down in. Yeah, that may be the way to go. Because then, you know, what I can do is I can just put this in an and get all that styling done with just those two gradients. And then the body can either be a single bar with this yellow background, and maybe I hate to do another background, but maybe I can do something clever with like the linear gradient background. That might be it. But I'd have to... No, that won't work. I can't split up the linear gradient and the radial gradient background. I could probably do something with this color stop where it disappears, and then like use a font-based value for it. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. So let's go background. So I might be able to just put background. Oh, but then I have to put border on this. Border will go in its own separate thing. All right. It's problem solved. Let's go radial. Let's do the radial gradient first. We're going to do a circle. The 1Q is our shortcut for typing out circle. It gives us the same, yeah, you know, that's what we do to get the same behavior. That's the word. And let's go red. 25, it looks like. We'll see if that's actually true. Do that. 0 to... I might not need to actually do... Oh no, I have to do another color stop to set the limit on this. Let's go 50 just for the time being, and then we can do that. Okay. Obviously too small. Let's see how big we need to make it. Let's step up this first one so it doesn't disappear. 80 is apparently the answer. I like that it is a multiple of font. Let's go 30, 32, 33, 34, 35. Weird. That's a weird one. I don't like that. Okay, but that is what it is. It makes it really hard when it's an odd number like that to use a font-based value, unless it fits into like characters or something. I wonder if it does. Let's see. Like 3 char 4 5. Okay, 4.2 3. But when I do that, something that I have trouble with is the way my browser renders it on this screen, and then how the backend does when I use font-based values that don't directly translate, and I don't know the actual multiplication. I get some real issues between the diff and how it gets measured. All right, let's do a border, right? 50 pixels solid. Let's look at where that lands. All right, let's make it bigger. 70. There. Ooh, that's just brushing the sides right there. All right. But we're going to do that because we need this to bound in our linear gradient. So now let's write a linear gradient. I don't know if this is going to show up. I always get them backwards as to whether I put it on the top or the bottom. We are going to do yellow, 80 pixels, and then do this color, 0. I don't know if 80 is the right number. I just did that. But since it's not showing up, that means it's under our radial gradient because we don't have any transparencies in our radial gradient. So let's move it to the front of the line. There it goes. Okay, now this one does need transparencies. There we go. And give it that 0. Okay. Oh. Okay, all right. So we're going to flip out which one has the transparency, I guess, and put the radial gradient underneath. So our linear gradient is going to have our color, right? And get put in the right spot. And our radial gradient is going to have a transparent second color to make our stacking all work properly. And let's put the linear gradient back where it was at the end. All right. All right, comma and that. Okay, now we can position this down. Let's go 0, 50 pixels. Okay, less than that, but let's get our diff going. 40. All right, we have it. We just need that central line. Technically, we could just do another gradient because we saw how our borders touch the top and bottom here. That if we do a gradient off that way, yeah, let's just do it. Let's just do it. I need to get this done, and that'll be a lot easier than trying to figure out how to be clever with I don't know, doing the body and then getting the background to work with the body. I mean, I guess you know what, that might be real easy. What are we gonna have? We will have, it's the radial gradient. It's the problem with this. If I had 35 pixels, you know, if 35 pixels was easier to translate, I would absolutely use a font base value to zero that out so we just have a pure yellow background automatically for the body. The border would go into its own selector, the and selector. The background would go into a star selector, and then the body would just end up being yellow, and I could just margin it into shape. And that, I think, would be absolutely the way to go rather than writing a whole nother linear gradient. I have low hopes of getting 100% doing that. If it was 36, well, shoot. I gotta do it. I just gotta do it. Because font at 36 would be 4, which is, I'm trying to do, that's 2/8. 4/16 is 2/8, which is 1/4. Oh. So 36 would be 2.25 m, right? .2. I don't know. All right, let's hit a star selector, and then what we're gonna do is you're gonna be a star, but we're gonna spin up into its own thing. All right, there we go. Now the body's getting all of those, so let's go margin 0. There we go, and like 100, and that should shrink it down. But it has all the same background, so it doesn't look any different. If we did different right and left, there we see our offset. We see what's happening there. Okay. So what I want to do is go font 0A, right? And now we should see, yeah, our yellow bar, and we can just step this down. 120, 122. Oof, that looks bad. You see that offset? Oh, let's hit submit. We're going to be 99.9, and I might just do a linear gradient because I can position that easier. 99.9. That's what I thought. All right, we'll try the 117. Looks a little bit more balanced. No. I was expecting more of a battle. That's why I was being so dramatic about it. Okay. Yesterday, this went to 70, did 74Q just fine. Let's see if it accepts that here. And then we can turn the 80 pixels. We cannot turn those into rem, sadly. M values, because I'm using font. Oh, 99.6. You are saying 70 pixels for sure. It's funny how yesterday it was okay, but today it's not. 40 pixels is 5CH, but I don't think that'll work. Oh, it does work. Okay, because I'd have to do a slash and then something to change that. But it does make that edge show up there. So let's see what happens here. And we're back at 100%. It doesn't mind that little artifact up there. Okay. 80 pixels. What do we do with that since I can't do 5M? Can we do 5 rem? Will that not get affected by? Yeah, that doesn't get affected by, but then I'm at the same number of characters. So that doesn't really help me any. Let's see. 85Q. Seems okay. There's my kids. See, I told you my time was limited. Hi, Levi. Hi, buddy. No, you can't come out here. Yeah, you'd be way too disruptive. What do we get? 99.9? Okay, doesn't like that. I'm going to leave it. You guys have fun doing a better job than I do. Let's close this out. Let's get one less character off of font by doing that. As long as it's the very last thing, you can get rid of the space and just use one little tick. But even if you have closing brackets here, it will not work. So it has to be the absolute last thing that the browser can say, oh, we opened a quote, but we don't know where we're ending the quote, but it just accepts it. So that's that. Let's see where we're at. This is not perfect, but, you know, it's okay. 171. I'll take it. That was fun. There we go. 171. That's what I did. Cool. All right. I hope you had fun with this, and I will catch you later.